hey, just because they have a huge following doesn't mean they have the right following. So it's important. And really anybody can be an influencer, right? The people that don't do good at influencer marketing are the people that don't know what they're doing. You know, I mean, it's like going and finding a wife. Not everybody will work for free.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Animaker Genius Talk, a talk show where we interview genius minds from the world of videos and transfer some of their amazing knowledge to you. Today, I have a very special guest. I'm pleased to present to you one of the world's leading experts in the field of influencer marketing, Shane Barker. Welcome to the show, Shane. We're happy to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited about this interview today.
All right. So let me just give you a simple brief of how this is going to work today. We have three amazing sections. The first one is what we call the genius journey. Every great story always starts with the hero's journey. Shane, you're the hero of the session today. Share with us your journey of how you got into digital marketing.
Absolutely, man. I went from a genius to a hero. This is already the best interview that I've had all week, man, I'll tell you. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. So my avenue or my journey, I guess, into digital marketing happened. I've been telling people 12 years ago, and my wife finally corrected me at one point and says, hey, it's like 20 years ago now. So I'm just claiming that I'm not that old, but I just continue to get older, right? I mean, that happens. But I've been in the digital space for just about 20 years. The way I jumped into the space was I went to school for it. There wasn't a lot of stuff about social media or even online. There was some stuff. This was, many, many moons ago. This was 2003 when I graduated from college. And so, the way I jumped into it was I had my own online businesses, and I figured, instead of hiring marketers and this kind of stuff, I had a degree in marketing, so I should go and figure out how to do this thing online. And so that's really how I cut my teeth, was working with my own companies and bootstrapping my businesses and really going out there and learning and hiring freelancers. I mean, I was on freelancer.com before, well, it was called Get a Freelancer back then. So, this was a long, long time ago, many, many moons ago. And so it's really how I jumped into space. And so I continue to stay in the space with, marketing my own businesses, my consultancy now. Obviously I teach at UCLA with a class where we teach in influencer marketing. And now, like I said, now I'm at the point where I have all my clients, and that's because of the grinding that I've done the last 20 years in the space.
That's amazing. But in this entire journey, what would you call as one defining moment?
Yeah, I mean, there's been quite a few of them. I mean, when you have your own business, in the beginning there's a lot of ups and downs of, when my wife's like, God, you made a great amount this month. And the next month it's like, oh, hey, I got to go get a job. I'm like, yeah, so you know how that goes. It's the ups and downs of owning your own business. But I think for me, the defining moment, especially in the influencer space, was a client that, how I actually got in the influencer space, and my name was Zoe Rodriguez. This was about 5 or 6 years ago. She came to me and was a one-person team. She was making about $400,000 a year doing influencer marketing through, well, she didn't know it was influencer marketing. It was marketing at that point with people that have good social media followings, fitness product that she had. She sold fitness ebooks. And so she came to me and we did an initial call, and I thought, there was something fishy going on. In fact, she was selling all these ebooks, and I couldn't get somebody to give me a free email address on my website to download a PDF, and she was making $20 a pop off these ebooks. So, we ended up getting her up to $1.6 million in about a year's time. So when I saw that was an aha moment for me, where I thought, oh my God, there's so much money to be made in the influencer space if you do it right. And Zoe was one of those people that was doing it right and just helped, get that message out and, tighten up a few things, her logo on her website and some stuff to help with conversions. But she went through the roof.
Wow, that's an amazing journey, given that you started off very early in the influencer marketing. So, tell us one thing. Share with us one big success moment and one big setback that you faced in your journey with influencers.
Yeah, so the big success was, like I said, Zoe was definitely the biggest success that I had. Getting her from 400,000 to 1.6 million. We spent probably $300,000 on influencer marketing. And when I say influencer marketing, this was, before there was any platforms, so there was no software. We were using, I joke around, these things called Excel spreadsheets that maybe the kids might have heard of these things. I don't know if they use them too much anymore. Maybe they do, but now it's like software driven. But we were able to do, once we revamped her website, revamped her logo, and helped her come up with some new products and helped her with her product launches. And we did a Black Friday launch that I think we did almost $35,000 in sales. So there was a lot of things that we did that could be tightened up. So we already had a great story, had great content. We just had to get the word out about what she had going on and help her increase her cost. Usually when she was getting $20 an ebook, we were able to bundle them together, so she was able to make more money per transaction. So she went from $20 to $35, because these fitness ebooks are just PDFs. Like you already have the cost. Once you have things created, a PDF's free. At that point. So we would bundle those things up and do that. And so we did that. And then we also built out quite an extensive, over 100,000 of people on an email list, and did Infusionsoft and did the behavioral marketing behind that. So that was really cool, and kind of see that go. I would have to say my biggest setback was also in the fitness space. There was an influencer, which I won't say her name, but she had a huge following. Zoe came to us at 180,000. We got her up to 500,000. This influencer came to us at over 2 million. Beautiful girl, had a great following, and we really thought, wow, if we could, Zoe at 500,000, if she could sell 1.6 million, this girl at 2 million should be able to sell 2 or 3 times that. We thought, oh, we're going to absolutely crush it. And so we developed out the campaigns, and we did the website, we did all this stuff, and then we launched, and sales were really low. And it was one of those learning lessons. Why is that? Well, we didn't have software at the time, so I didn't really know what her demographic was like. So, she was a fitness model, but she was also a bikini model. So, 80% of her following was men that just wanted to see her pictures every day, right? So Zoe's was very different. These were all people that had seen Zoe from her journey of no booty to a big booty, because that was one of her programs, right? So that was a big thing for her. And, with this particular influencer, we would have been better off coming out with a calendar or something like that. So that was one of our, I say a setback, but it was just really a learning lesson and experience that we learned that, hey, just because they have a huge following doesn't mean they have the right following. So it's important to realize that you have to produce the right product for the right audience. And that was a huge, not a setback, but more of a learning lesson for us.
That's an amazing insight. Anybody who's an aspiring influencer should definitely learn a lesson from what you just shared. All right, Shane, when I was researching about you before this interview, I also came across to understand that you're not just an influencer and an influencer marketer, but you're also a passionate runner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So share with us how your passion for running has helped you professionally in both digital and influencer marketing.
Yeah, the running thing is, one of those things that it's a blessing and a curse, is that anything that I jump into, I jump in with both feet. So it's really hard for me to go and start something and just be okay at it. Like same thing with digital marketing. I spent way too many hours ignoring my family and being online and learning how to become successful in the digital space. Running has been a way for me to add some balance to my life. When it comes to, I could be in front of a computer. I have been in front of a computer for 12 to 22 hours on a daily basis, right? For a long time. Running has helped me get that balance. It helps me think about stuff, helps me clear my head. It also has helped me meet some really cool people. I've joined some run clubs, and another cool thing is a lot of runners like to drink beer, and I'm Irish, so I drink beer. So there's been some good connections there where I've met some really awesome people, and here in the Sacramento community, also in the Los Angeles community where I teach at UCLA. So like I said, it's just kind of helped me balance out that work-life balance, which for the longest time I didn't have that. I was 30 pounds heavier and eating anything that I could get my mouth on, and I was working crazy hours and very unhealthy. And so now I'm a lot healthier and go and work out and go to the gym. Once again, have that balanced life, and so I can enjoy family and a crazy lifestyle of digital marketing.
Wow, that's an insight all digital marketers should definitely take, including me, I guess. Yeah, Shane, so we've come to the end of section 1. So let's move on to section 2, which I'm super excited about. In this section, we're going to have a rapid fire section. I'm going to throw some questions at you, and I'm going to find maximum value from your answers. I'm going to pass on that value to my audience for free. All right?
Awesome.
Okay, so this section is what we call picking the genius brain. All right? Ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right, here comes question number 1. In this world where everybody has over 1,000 friends on Facebook, who do you call an actual influencer, and what is effective influencer marketing?
Yeah, so I think the thing is that is where it's interesting these days, because really anybody can be an influencer, right? If there's some type of a following, it can be 100 people, it can be 1,000 people, it can be 10,000 people, that you have that power of influencing somebody. And that can be once on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, wherever that is. I think the goal with that is that, assuming that, what was the question? If people want to be an influencer, is that what you're saying? What should they
Yeah, the question is, how do you find an influencer? Like everybody has over 1,000 friends. Who do you actually define as an influencer?
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I really, one of the things that we do is we use software. So if we're looking for an influencer, let's say whatever the platform that is, let's say it's Instagram or Facebook, we can go and take a look at it and see, like I said, take a look at their following and see if they have any influence. Then what we do is we break that list down. So let's say we're looking for influencers in Los Angeles for a yoga product. So what we do is we use software, break that down, and then we actually go and look at the individual influencers' profiles. Because once again, you don't have to have 1 million people to be an influencer. You can have 500, you could be a yogi in Los Angeles, have 500 people that follow you, but those people could be heavily engaged in everything that you do. So then for me as a consultant, I would go and take a look at it, the influencers or the brand, I would recommend the brand does, and really dig down and look at the person's messaging, what the stuff they're putting out there, what's the past sponsorships they've had, really, really drill down and see if that influencer is going to be a good fit. Because once again, everybody has that potential of having influence.
That's really a great insight. But tell me one thing, Shane. All of the brands want to know about this. As a consultant, how do you actually calculate your returns from your investment on influencer marketing, both in terms of money and time, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it really depends on, the investment in influencer marketing. I think one of the misconceptions is that, if you just go, you hire an influencer, they put up a piece of content, and then the money just comes rolling in. That's not the way that it is. I mean, it's like anything else. The same thing with PPC, same thing with SEO. You have to put the time and the effort in, right? You have to go and look for the influencers. You have to make sure the content is good. You have to do, once you put the content live, you want to do some kind of a paid ad after that to continue to push the content. So, you have to make sure when you're looking at, KPIs, you're looking at like, hey, what's the ROI of a campaign? You really have to set those up with the influencer ahead of time. So you really should say, okay, hey, what's the biggest thing we're worried about? Hey, what we're really looking for is more traffic to the website. We can do the conversion side of it. Okay, great. What do we want? What do you think we can do? Hey, well, let's do, our budget is $3,000 and we want to do 5 pictures on Instagram. Okay, what kind of content do you think about? Like, will you do that collaboration and you kind of figure out what you think is going to be a win-win for both sides for the budget? And, once again, making sure you understand what those KPIs are and making sure you're on the same page with how you want to move that needle and what's going to be. I always ask them, like, what would be a big win for you? Right? And so they go, a big win for me would be XYZ. Well, now that's kind of where their head's at. And if they say, hey, I want you to be able to post 1 picture and I want to make $1 million in sales. And I go, okay, your expectation is way off, right? So we've got to talk about, that would be a big win, obviously, but 1 picture is not going to do that. So let's talk about proper expectation and when you can set the table and kind of make sure you guys are on the same page with what you got going on and make sure that once again, that nobody's expecting some crazy result that's not going to happen.
Right. So managing expectations is a very important insight. On that note, can you also give me what are the different categories of influencers, right? So you hear all of these words: micro influencers, celebrities, macro influencers, etc. Can you just break it down for us?
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's a number of different types of influencers. There's 2 ways that you can look at it: either a number of followers, right? So you have, in theory, and these numbers can fluctuate, but 1,000 to 100,000 is what we call the micro influencer. Macro influencers are going to be obviously usually, let's say 100,000 to 500,000, and then you have celebrity influencers that can have a lot, that can have a huge following. The issue with when you look at those types of numbers, and the problem with that is that if you're paying somebody that has the larger following, that doesn't mean that their audience is more engaged. So that's one misconception is like, oh, they've got 2 million people, I have to hire them because they've got more eyeballs on there, and that's sometimes true, but it's not always true. So that's where I think when we talk about the numbers, the micro influencers and macro influencers and celebrities and stuff, we look at these certain numbers, but really another category that we have to look at is like, what type of influencer are they, right? So it's like if they are a yoga influencer and they only have, like I said, 500 people, you can go, oh, they don't have a great audience, but maybe they do. Maybe those 500 people are phenomenal. Maybe anything this person says they should go buy, they go buy it. So that's where you have to look at it. Micro influencers are a little easier to work with because the engagement is usually higher, right? Because they have more time to spend and they have more time to respond back to comments and stuff like that. Not to say that macro or celebrities aren't the way to go, but you have to have a very big budget. And if you have a budget of $15,000 and you hire a celebrity influencer and they put out 1 piece of content and it doesn't go well, then it doesn't go well, right? You don't always want to put your eggs all in one basket. So I usually try to work with some macro influencers or micro influencers to, depending on what that is, when you find a funnel, a working funnel, when you've got this kind of influencer, great, for every dollar they're bringing in $2, that's now you want to put that $10,000, $15,000 into that type of influencer, those influencers that have that same kind of avatar as that influencer, and then go after those campaigns.
That's an interesting insight. So I recently heard the very famous entrepreneur Gary Vee say that brands from across the globe are making millions of dollars off of influencer marketing right now. So what do you think is the accurate number on this, and where do you see this number go to in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I think the number's only going to go up. The only downside, and I agree with Gary Vee, there's a lot of influencer campaigns that are going extremely well. And there's also a lot of them that aren't going well, and that's one of the things is I think the education side of things that is something that we're working on right now. That I have a course that I'm working on for influencers on how to reach out to brands, how to monetize your profile, and then the other side of it, we're doing a 2-day workshop for agencies and for brands on how to find influencers, how to pitch them, how to put your brief together, like making sure you're doing things the right way, because the people that don't do good at influencer marketing are the people that don't know what they're doing. And there's some agencies and there's some influencers. Most influencers aren't marketers, right? They have influence. They are doing what they're doing and they just happen to gain a following. And so they don't really know, for the most part, they know what their audience is going to like, but they don't know how people are going to react to certain things because they're not marketers. That's not their expertise. And so a brand comes in and they try to negotiate this deal, and it's somebody who's not really somebody who's not a marketer, and you have somebody on the brand side that's not really knowing what to ask for or how many times they should do this. There's just a lot of potential problems that can happen. And so what we want to work on is the education side of that. Like, how can we go from this many issues and then just go down to this many issues so you guys can have a campaign that's successful? So the numbers are going to be astronomical. I mean, it's only going to get bigger and bigger. People are going to start doing it better and better. There's a lot of artificial intelligence. There's a lot of machine learning and stuff like that will help increase searches and give you better ideas for content. There's some really, really cool stuff that's happening right now. We have computer generated influencers. I mean, there's a lady out of Brazil. She's got 1.2 or 1.5 million followers, and she goes to events and she's has her arm around celebrities, but she's fake. She's not a real person. She's a computer generated influencer. So that kind of blew my mind a little bit. That's kind of the future, is like, you can go follow somebody and believe in what they're doing, but they're not even a real person. So anyways, I mean, it's going to be, the future's going to be kind of crazy, but I'm looking forward to the crazy rises.
That's a really amazing story that you just shared with us. I'm excited to go check out that profile right away. So one thing that you mentioned that I found quite curious is that I find a lot of SaaS platforms and softwares that are coming up claiming to be influencer platforms. How effective are these softwares actually?
Insightful is one that we've used and we've liked, and then Hyper's been another one. Bill, those guys over at Hyper do an awesome job. I mean, really what it comes down to is what I use software for is, back in the day when we didn't have software, I would have to manually look at every profile. We put in an Excel spreadsheet, I'd take some notes, I would negotiate through WhatsApp, and I'd pay through PayPal, and there was always these things that we would have to do. Having a platform like that, a software that you can negotiate through the platform, is helpful, and you can set up automated emails, and you can do this kind of stuff that I think it cuts down on the time, because it's very time intensive to find the right influencers for your brand. It's not it's like going and finding a wife. You don't just send out an email to 10,000 women and say, hey, I'm looking for a wife, like somebody get back to me, right? And you gotta you go to these dating sites, you gotta kind of pick what you like. I like blondes, I don't like brunettes, whatever that is, right? It's the same thing with this. You're looking to partner with somebody and develop that relationship. So you have to spend the time and do that. Software is a great place to be able to curate lists. And then you have to go in individually and drill down and see those individual profiles and make sure that's gonna be a good fit for your brand. So software is, once again, it helps bring all those together, helps curate all that information, put it together, but you still have to disseminate who you think is going to be the best one to work with your brand.
That's an interesting analogy. So when I started researching about this interview and I told my friends I'm going to be talking to Shane Barker, one question that all of them wanted me to ask you, and I'm quite curious myself, is how much do social media influencers actually make?
Yeah, that's always the question of the day, because it's, literally my class that I teach at UCLA, that's part of the class is like how to be an influencer, like how to become an influencer. And then the biggest thing is like, how much money can I make? This is the thing, you can make $5 and you can make $500,000, right? It's like anything else. If you build the influence, one of the issues, and so if I'm talking to an influencer and said, hey, how much money can you make? It really depends on how much time and effort you put into it. right? You have to build that audience. So if you have a good audience, and once again, it doesn't need to be 1 million people. If you have a good audience, then you just have to figure out, like, what are the brands you want to work with that you think would resonate well with your audience? And then my suggestion is to go after those brands. Don't sit around and wait, right? If you're, once again, I'll use a dating analogy. If you want to go and date, sitting down on your couch waiting for that beautiful girl to come knock on your door probably isn't going to happen. I don't care how cool you are, how good looking you are, right? Trust me, I've waited. I've sat on that couch for a long time, very lonely. You know, the idea is that you need to go up and be proactive. You need to go find the brands you want to work for, put together a media kit, make sure your website's tight, make sure you have a good, email address so that it looks professional, and go out and pitch brands and explain to them, hey, this is the reason why you need to work with me, is because I have X amount of followers, and when I do this, I get this kind of engagement, and I've worked with the brand very similar to yours, and these are the kind of results we got. And then brands go, wow, you're a no-brainer. Now I know that you're the influencer I want to work with. Because most brands don't know how to find influencers. So they're like, I don't really know. They'll read my articles and they'll go hire that person 10 times because they don't really know how to go find the right influencer. So that's where the education side of this thing really comes into play as well.
That's amazing. So in 2018, what are 3 influencer marketing strategies that you believe actually work?
Yeah, so I mean, it really just depends on the brand, right, and the product of what it is. But the influencer strategies that we've seen that have done well, I mean, it really comes down to, I mean, obviously you have any kind of affiliate-based stuff. So depending on what the product is and who the influencer is, but the affiliate-based stuff is great because then it shows, obviously you'll know exactly how many sales come from that influencer because there's an affiliate link that's unique to them. They can share that. So we've seen some good successes with that. We've also seen some good stuff with hotels that we've been working with, where you can go in and because they get pitched a lot about people saying, hey, I'm an influencer, give me a free night. And what we do is we educate the hotels on what to ask for and how to ask for it and certain things to look at, what kind of reporting should be done, and really hold the influencer accountable for things that they're offering. And I think probably the third one that we've seen that's been real successful is on YouTube. We've seen there's a very heavily and highly engaged audiences on YouTube, especially when you dive into those channels. And a lot of those subscribers and stuff watch those videos and watch those things on a daily basis. Depending on who the influencer is, once again, it can be extremely helpful. It can be extremely valuable for a brand to go and find those right influencers that have good amounts of subscribership and once you pitch those products and get the products out there.
Wow, that's an interesting answer. And these 3 points are really something that everybody should really think of. So, Shane, if you summarize influencer marketing in 3 words, what would these 3 words be?
Well, 3 words, that's a hard one. I would say awesome, first of all, awesome. My second word would be fun, right? Because it is absolutely fun. My third word is going to be a little longer than a third word, but it's lots of work. Because it is. It's not one of those like overnight, hey, you just put up one picture. You got to really put in the effort. Like anything else in marketing, it's a tool in your toolbox, right? So this is where you got to put in the effort. You put in the effort, find the right influencers, and you'll flourish and make a lot of money.
Wow, the third one really is a bitter pill, but that's the truth, right? We just have to accept it.
Yeah.
Superb. So we've come to the end of section 2. We're moving on to section 3. This is what we call inside the genius mind. Now, we simpletons, whenever we come across a well thought of and well executed influencer marketing campaign, let's say, for example, the one Casey Neistat did with Nike, we can't help but wonder, how did they even think of this? So today, we want to see live of how a genius brain, such as yourself, tackles a problem on influencer marketing. All right. So I'm going to give you a simple situation, and we're going to see how you're going to give us an influencer strategy for this situation. All right.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's assume that I am a young millennial vlogger, all right? I have a small and a very engaged audience. So how do you think I go out and find my first brand deal?
Yeah, I think one of the things you want to do is you always look at your competition, right? So if I'm a vlogger or a millennial vlogger or whatever, I'm assuming they're probably looking at other people they want to be like. So I would say, hey, go take a look at your competition and see what they're doing, right? See what's working for them, because what's cool about that is you can look at, if somebody you have a blogger or a vlogger that put out 50 videos and 7 of them did absolutely great, well, you can look at that content and do content that's similar because that people are going to resonate with that type of content. So that's what I do first is go and research the competition. Second, I would also make sure, once again, that you have a good package together. So make sure your video content is good. It doesn't need to be epic. I mean, it depends on what kind of content you're putting out there. It doesn't need to be a brand new camera. It doesn't need to be a beautiful setup. But you have to figure out, like, if you're going after brands and what that is. If it needs to be a little grimy and dark, and that's because that's what you're selling, is those kind of products, or whatever that is, make sure it fits with the brands you're going to be going after. But putting a media kit together, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things, is that when brands hire influencers, at the end, there should be some kind of reporting. There should be something where they understand, like, what they got for their money. I don't see that happening a lot. So, but a media kit will be that first step of, like, explaining to a brand, like, why they need to hire you. All right, putting out the information of, like, hey, this is how many hits I get on average, and this is, my YouTube used to be 7 subscribers, and now it's at 75,000. I did that in a 6-month span. This is what we've got going on. I've worked with similar brands. I've done this and that. Those kind of things like that are just extremely helpful for the brand to be able to make those hard decisions on who they want to work with. So make sure, once again, your website's tight. Make sure you got some good content on there. And make it a no-brainer. Make it so it's a situation where the brand goes, this is naturally the person that I want to work with, because they've already done some similar campaigns. They've already shown me successes that they've had. They've worked with some good brands that we feel are reputable. And why would we want to work with them? So that's what you want to do. You want to take the guesswork out for all the brands.
Wow, that's a lot of content, and Media Kit is definitely an advice that all of them should definitely follow. So what is one piece of advice that you would give to all aspiring influencers out there?
Yeah, and I think the one thing I would say is, don't sit back on your heels and wait for somebody to contact you, right? There's a thing in marketing. There's inbound marketing and there's outbound marketing, right? So inbound, for me, inbound marketing, that's how I get all my leads, right? So I get my leads from doing webinars and doing interviews and writing for Inc. and Huffington Post and all this kind of stuff. So it's great, but it's not an overnight thing. I didn't, like, do one interview and then I got 1,000 calls and I make $1 million, right? So that takes a while. Inbound is a whole different beast, right? Outbound is something I can go and email any day of the week, and I can pitch them on why they're gonna need my services. And then there we go. And I can convince them of why that is. The numbers might be lower. It might not be as warm as a lead, but it's the same thing with influencer marketing, right? The idea is that you need to go out and educate that brand on why they need to work with you. And if you can do that, then there we go. If they say no, that's not a problem. Then you move on to the next brand. But if you do your research and explain to them, make it a no-brainer. Make it in a situation where, like, how can I deny but work with Shane, because Shane said this is the campaigns, this is what he's done in the past. He's not asking for a crazy premium. He wants to work on this. He's going to do multi-post frequencies, and he's got all kinds of stuff. He's got all this in a row, and he's done it before. That's the kind of thing that brands are willing to invest their time and their money into, because they know you know what you're doing. So
that's an amazing insight, but let's flip the coin now. What is one piece of advice that you would give to brands who are excited about influencer marketing?
Yeah, so brands, I would say, one of the things you got to realize with influencers is that not everybody will work for free. That's a common misconception of, like, hey, I have an influencer, and if I give them a free $20 t-shirt, then they're going to post 10 times for you. You have to figure out, how is it going to be a win-win? And there's a lot of companies out there that just because you're going to give them an awesome $20 shirt, you can't expect them to put 10 pieces of content out. If you have an influencer you want to work with and they're putting out epic content, usually behind that means they have a videographer, they have a photographer, maybe somebody's helping with copywriting. There's a lot of money and time that goes into that, so it's not always free. So, the $20 t-shirt, as much as an influencer would appreciate that, you have to figure out, once again, how it's a win-win. I always do interviews, so if I'm a brand, I do interviews with my influencers. And because I don't assume that they won't do it for free, and I can talk to them and say, hey, are you familiar with our products? And say, absolutely, I love your guys' products. Okay, well, what would you do? Like, how would you see this relationship working? They could go, I just want a few free shirts a month. I just want $200 in free product. Okay, perfect. So that would be a win-win for them, right? So instead of me going in and offering money when maybe money is not the number one thing, every influencer is different. You can't assume just because every influencer says they have to be paid $5,000 that's always going to be the premium for everybody. So that's where you have to take the time and do those interviews and talk to the influencers and figure out who you think is going to be a good fit and who's going to make sense to grow with your brand. And that's the biggest thing about this is, don't look at the one-time deal. Once somebody just posts one piece of content, it's not going to go anywhere. Just PPC, if you go and do one ad, you're probably not going to make $1 million, right? You've got to try multiple things. And once you find that right influencer that has that right audience, then you start pouring some money into it, then you really start seeing some cash flow come in, and that's when things are great.
That's definitely a piece of advice a lot of brands really need to pick up. So Shane, we've almost come to the end of the session. I have an interesting question for you. I hope you have a piece of paper next to you ready.
I do.
All right. So what is that one symbol that comes to your mind when we say influencer marketing? Can you draw that for us?
I can. Boy, you're asking me to draw. This might be bad. So
that's okay. We just want to see the symbol that you can think of immediately on the top of your head.
Okay. I didn't know this might cause people to think I'm not a genius anymore. I don't know. So let's see if I can. Man, I want to throw this out there that I'm a much better marketer than I am an artist. Let's see what I'm gonna do. Man, I'm probably going to get some people that are going to unfollow me after we're done with this. I'm like, really? So this is my thing. I don't know, can you see it?
Yep, I can. So can you explain what that is for us?
I will. So for all the artists out there that probably their retinas are probably going to be burning, their eyeballs were burned from that. So what I did, that to me is like the monkey emoji. So you know the monkey emoji when it goes like this? So the one symbol that I think of, and that's not a bad thing, I think of like a lot of the miseducation, a lot of the things that people are doing wrong when it comes to influencer marketing, because like anything else, you got to put the time and effort in. But I think there's been some great successes, and there's been, most of the people that come to me have done some kind of a campaign with another agency or something, and that hasn't gone well. And the issue is a lot of miseducation. So you have like literally kind of kids trying to help kids, and it doesn't equal a good campaign. So I'm in here the reason I'm teaching at UCLA and the reason why I've got these courses and stuff that I'm putting out is because I want to educate people. I want people to understand how to do things the right way. So right now I think of influencer marketing and I think there's huge opportunity, but I think of the monkey that's like, oh God, how do we stop this pain for a little bit, right? So the education side, like I said, that we'll be tapping into and helping influencers and also helping brands. That's where I'm excited about this, where we can help them go through this thing and save a lot of money by not making the same mistakes that other brands and influencers have made along the way.
Wow, that's something really thoughtful. All right. So when we thought of this session, we never really thought of it to be a thoughtful answer, but you came up with something really thoughtful for that too. That's amazing. So I understand that you're doing a lot to educate your audience. Tell us something that you're doing right now in terms of courses. So what are you doing right away that people can find you on?
Yeah, so I like I said, I teach a class at UCLA. I co-instruct a class with Amanda Russell. That's obviously going to be at UCLA in the campus in Los Angeles and Westwood. And so it's a two-piece course. One part of the course is how to be an influencer, right? So like how to come up with a plan to be an influencer, and the other side of it is how to hire influencers, how to work with influencers. So a lot of brands and agencies take that. Through that, I'm going to be breaking off this. I've talked about a little bit, but I have an online course that I'm developing with a number of different influencers, because they're kind of telling me all the things that they're, when it comes to brands, like how do I monetize it? How do I make money from my profile? How do I pitch a brand? How do I get a media kit together? How do I get my website together? This kind of basic stuff. I'm coming up with some curriculum that will all be online. It'll be a community that we're building on to help influencers be able to pitch other brands, and we'll talk about the successes and the failures and really help grow as a community. And then on the other side of it is my it's a 2-day, first one's going to be in San Francisco that we're doing here in the US, but it's going to be in San Francisco where we're actually going to do, it's a 2-day hands-on webinar for brands and agencies where they actually I'll be there, they're going to have computers, we'll have lunch and breakfast and all this fun stuff, and we'll actually go through the process of finding influencers, how to do it, which software to use, what do we do after the campaign's gone live, all that different stuff. It's in the education side of it, so that these agencies that claim to know how to do influencer marketing, now they'll at least have a better idea on how to work with influencers and how to work with brands and be able to really do what they say they can do. So that for me is that education thing is going to be just a huge piece of this, to be able to help people, once again, have proper expectations and to make sure that everybody's on the same page and we're growing as a community, because there's going to be a lot of cool stuff that's happening in the influencer space that's going to be going extremely fast, and you got to kind of keep up.
Wow. I hope the influencer marketing industry is growing as fast as you are. But what you're taking is a very great step forward in terms of educating people, both in terms of brands and influencers. That's a great step, and we really, from Team Animaker, I'm really proud of that I've got an opportunity to interact with you. One last question to you, Shane. What is one message that you want our audience to take away from this interview session?
Yeah, I would say the one thing that you want to take away is, well, I mean, I think is that, you know, you have to put in the time with influencer marketing. You know, it's not, back in the day, hey, you could post one picture and you can make tons of money. You really have to come up with a strategy. It's just that one, as I said earlier, it's a tool in the tool set, right? So you have these 15 things as a marketer that you need to do. Influencer marketing is one of those. I think it can become extremely successful, and if you find the right influencers, it can be very lucrative. But you just have to make sure that you're putting in the time. You have to put in that effort. It's the same thing with anything else in marketing. If you're only going to do it half-assed, if you're only going to cut corners and do it, you can't expect for it to be successful. And that's where I think put in that time and the effort. But if you put in the time and effort like anything you do, then it'll be successful. You just got to make sure you're diligent and pushing forward.
Time, effort, and diligence. Those are the three things, right?
That's it.
Amazing. All right, Shane, it was great talking to you. I hope you enjoyed the session too. And how can our audience find you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me, man. Once again, I was super excited. I've seen other interviews you've done in the past. I knew this was going to be a good time, so I appreciate the offer. Yes, you guys can find me if you go to shanebarker.com, and it's SHANE and then BARKER.com. And then you can go on there and you can either get in contact with me. My email address is just Shane, that's SHANE @ShaneBarker.com. You can go there. You can find me on Instagram, Shane Barker. You can find me on Twitter, Shane_Barker. I mean, I'm all over the place. I'm doing a lot of webinars, doing a lot of different speaking events and stuff. But if you go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, you'll see a lot of the content that we're producing and putting out, and you can kind of stay up to date on all the things I got going on.
All right, Shane, thank you so much for spending your time today with us. I hope all of our audience found great value and educational insights from your answers. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thank you for having me.
Guys, if you really enjoyed the show, go ahead and click on the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated on all the latest episodes of Animaker Genius Talk. If you want to see someone else on the show, go ahead and comment below and we'll make sure to get them for the future episodes. Until then, take care, stay safe. This is Arvind from Team Animaker signing off.